Jagex just dropped a big update for Raids 4, the Fractured Archive, and the rewards are looking pretty spicy. We got a new shield, dual crossbows, a Crush Megarare, a magic Spec weapon, and even a Piety upgrade, maybe almost as good as Turmoil. But not everything survived the feedback, because the hybrid armor has officially been shelved for now. Let's go through the block from top to bottom, quick and clean. First up is the Rondache, the new shield reward. This thing is meant to make shields actually useful again, because let's be honest, in Old School, once you got a defender, most shields are dead content. The Rondache gives flat armor, meaning it reduces incoming damage after attack with it equipped. The important part is that this mainly works against melee and range damage. Jagex said magic and typeless damage are trickier, but they are looking at ways for the shield to interact with magic damage as well. The shield is also built for charges, so you can take damage and it blocks it. Then you can dump those charges into shield bash and instant special attack. Kind of like a Granite Maul style extra hit. The big concern is the Avernic Defender. If this shield has the same strength bonus as an Avernic, it might step too close to Theater of Blob reward space. So Jagex is considering either lowering the strength bonus or letting you attach an Avernic Defender to upgrade the Rondache. My take? The Rondache is a sick idea, but it needs to be its own thing. Make it an anti-chip damage shield, don't just make it Avernic with a bonus button. Next we got the Ascension Crossbows. There are dual crossbows, one in each hand, firing every 2 ticks in PVM. That sounds absolutely insane, but here's the catch. They won't use normal bolts, they use Ascension bolts made from Ascension shards from the raid. For now, Jagex wants to keep the bolts effect limited. Regular, Diamond and Onyx. That means no Ruby Bolt madness at 2 tick speed, which is definitely the right call, in my opinion. Jagex also said they want Ascension shots to be easy enough to maintain, including a more AFK style way to collect them, possibly in the raid's lobby. My take, this is probably the cleanest reward in the block. It's cool, easy to understand and gives ranged a new playstyle without instantly deleting every other weapon. Now for the big one, the TzHaar-Ket Breaker. This is the proposed Crush Megarare drop. Think of it like a Crush version of a raid tier weapon. Big damage, big fantasy, and a mean to fill a gap that OSRS has had for a long ass time. Originally it looked too strong. Players' calculation showed it could beat the Scythe in places where Scythe should be clearly winning. So Jagex is already tuning it down. The Breaker will now focus more specifically on enemies weak to Crush, instead of getting free damage rolls from every defense stat. It still hits bigger targets harder, and it can hit up to 3 targets if they line up properly. But the important balance goal is simple. If something is weak to Crush, the Breaker should shine. If something is weak to Slash, Scythe should still win it. That's exactly how it should be. The only weird part is the teaming. Some players think a TzHaar style weapon feels odd in a Gothic raid, but Jagex explained that the Fractured Archive contains artifacts from different cultures across Gillinor. So lore-wise, it works. My take, the weapon is strong on paper, but it still needs to feel like a mega rare. It can't just be a Scythe but Crush. It needs a huge animation, huge sound and a huge identity. Next, the hybrid armor, and this is the big change. Jagex is not moving forward with the hybrid armor for Raids 4. The reason is simple. For endgame players, it probably wasn't strong enough to replace proper best and slot switches. But for midgame or progression players, it might have been too strong and skipped too much melee and magic gear progressions. So it ended up in a weird spot. Too weak for the top end players, the raid is aimed at, but too strong for everyone below that. That's bad place for a raid reward to be. My take, shelving it is the right call. The art looked great and the idea was interesting, but this probably belongs in a different content, not the hardest raid on Old School. To replace the rewards space, Jagex proposed the Gatekeeper Cane. This is the new magic DPS special attack weapon, and honestly this is really interesting. Magic has stat reducing specs and it has a niche PvP spec, but it doesn't really have a clean PvM DPS spec like a Dragon Claws or a Ascension Crossbow. The Gatekeeper's Cane tries to fill that gap. The special attack costs 50% energy. It fires a hit with boosted accuracy and boosted damage. Then, if that hit lands, your next 3 attacks with the cane become faster, more accurate and stronger. So the damage isn't just one big hit. It's a short burst window. That means you can use it one boss or even spread the damage across multiple targets. Jagex mentioned places like Kelpie Queen, Go Wars, Dagon of Rex, Sora, Magma Phase, Whispers, or the Alm's right hand would be the thing. My take, this is great. Yeah, this is great. It's a great reward idea. Magic Battle needs a real DPS back weapon. And this feels more interesting than just a big blue number. Finally, we got the Zeal. Zeal! This is a proposed PD upgrade. It will require 84 prayer and it will override PD the same way newer prayers override older ones. The pros stats are 28% strength, 25 attack and 25% defense. And it has the same drain rate as Piety. So yeah, this is just a straight up melee buff. No downside, no trade-off, just stronger melee. That makes it extremely exciting but also extremely dangerous for balance. A permanent PD upgrade affects almost every melee boss, every slay task, every raid, and basically the entire endgame. Jagex even said this will be a must-have upgrade. My take, Zeal is probably the most powerful reward in the whole block. Not the flashiest, but maybe the most important. If this passes, every serious PvM will need it. The original proposal also included 2 untradeables. First is the Fractured Archive Teleport, which gives unlimited teleports back to the raid, similarly to how the Ancient Tablet works for Chambers of Xeric. Second is the Elemented Fragments, which increase the max hit of element spells by 2 for each element. So fire, water, air and earth spells are all getting their own little permanent upgrade. Those aren't crazy mega rare level rewards, but they are nice account unlocks and help support the elementness weakness system. So, my final thoughts. So overall this block is looking way better after feedback. The Rondache is a cool shield, but it needs to avoid killing a Vernic. The Ascension Crossbows are probably the safest and coolest rewards. The TzHaar-Ket Breaker has a potential, but it needs to feel unique enough to deserve mega rare status. The hybrid armor being shelved is probably the right move. The Gatekeeper's cane is strong and new magic spec idea. And Zeal might be one of the biggest permanent power upgrades OSRS has ever seen. Personally, I think the reward table is getting close, but Jagex has to be very careful because this is a lot of power coming from one raid. No, I want to know what you think. Which reward is the best? Rondache, Ascension Crossbows, TzHaar-Ket Breaker, Gatekeeper's Cane or Zeal? And should Zeal actually come into the game, or is Piety upgrade too much power creep? Drop your thoughts in the comments, like the video if this helped and subscribe for more OSRS updates. Peace out.